Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Simple Tesla Live. It's good to have you here. A couple of things I thought I'd cover this morning. I first wanted to cover, I did receive an update over the weekend. Tesla sent me a text message about my order. It said that I should plan to take delivery before the end of the month. So that's exciting. And there was nothing really other than that. They have not yet updated my order page, although I did call in and ask a question. I think I said previously on my order page under the trade-in section, it gives me a trade quote, but then it says pending. I called in and asked about that. They said it just has to do with the fact that we're not closely enough yet to my delivery date, so they don't have a payout yet, like a payoff, I guess is the better term, a payoff for my current vehicle. So until they have the payoff, right, they're unable to, I guess, do the final cost estimate and bill of sale that would itemize out all the different costs and details in the transaction, right? So although in my order they also had told me that I needed to submit some insurance information, but there's no place for me to do that, at least yet. It seems as though until I can do the trade payoff and get all that worked through closer to my delivery date, I don't think I can enter the other stuff. So anyway, that's where I'm at from an order perspective, and just receiving the communication in terms of the text that came to me over the weekend. That's about the only thing that's changed. I know there are some things going on from a promotions perspective. There's been a lot of talk about that. I guess I forget what date it was, but last week there was a communication that came out that said that Tesla's going to offer unlimited 2-year supercharging to purchasers who close before the end of the month on a new order. It's not clear to me yet if there are certain restrictions around that. I believe if you don't take delivery by the end of the month, it's not valid. So it's 2 free years supercharging, and I think it's an or, I don't think you can do both, but or you can get, say, an upgrade in a paint color or an interior. Like you can pick two, either wheels and paint color or wheels and interior, or some combination of any two items, and not be charged the upcharge fee. So, you could get 19-inch wheels and a paint color that's not white, that would normally cost extra, and I think those would be included at no charge, or at least that's my understanding. I don't know I don't know yet if that's going to affect me. I mean, I'd love to get the 2 free years supercharging, would be great. So I've sent an email to my sales associate asking about that. They have not responded. They did email me on Saturday saying that it was super busy. So I don't know. I'm probably not expecting to hear from her anytime soon. Just I guess depending upon how close it gets to my closing date, then my guess is they'll start communicating with me a lot more. So that's kind of what's going on with my order. The other things I wanted to talk on had to do with some tweets from a while back, and I thought maybe I'd start a playlist, a series within my channel that deals with Elon's tweets. He sends a number of tweets out on a variety of topics about Tesla, and certainly about the Model 3. And in a prior video, I'd mentioned and sort of talked about the longevity of the Model 3 as a vehicle to keep for many years, as well as driving it for many, many miles. And one of the tweets that he shared, which I'll put on the screen, he talked about how the Model S drive unit and the body has been designed like a commercial vehicle, and they've built it to go 1 million miles. So let me restate that. He's talking about the drive unit, meaning the motors to propel the vehicle, and the body and the structure and frame of the vehicle have been designed to go 1 million miles. Now, I don't know that I've ever heard any of the major car manufacturers say, what their cars have been designed for. The transmissions, for example. Certainly, I would think bodies, as long as you can stay away from rust, which can be a problem, in certain places, and certainly for vehicles from older periods, rust was a real issue. But I've never heard the other car manufacturers really state what they've built their vehicles to go to. If somebody has that, add it to the comments. But I think that's a pretty bold claim. the drive unit of a vehicle, right? The in a regular car it'd be your transmission, but those motors that are in the electric vehicle, to have them go 1,000,000 miles is pretty incredible. I think most, at least, people from probably my generation, if you had a car that went over 100,000 miles, that was like, wow. I mean, that was really good. And again, I know quality has come a long ways, particularly when the Japanese entered the U.S. markets, I don't know, 30 or so, 40 years ago, however long back, but really drove quality into their cars, which caused and really drove the competition with the U.S. automakers to do the same. Quality has really improved, I would say, across all vehicle makes and models. Generally, with exceptions, right? Because there are some models and makes that I would say don't have the quality in their name. Others do. But at the end of the day, to have a vehicle that's built to go 1,000,000 miles, and then to have him also say in that same tweet, and this was back, I think it was in April early of this year, to say that the battery units are designed for 300 to 500,000 miles. He said 1,500 cycles. And if you take 1,500 times 310, which is the battery or the range of a Model 3, or should be the range of a Model 3, you get over 300,000 miles. So he's saying that the batteries have been designed to go over 300, but anywhere from 300 to 500,000 miles. Again, when I think of a regular vehicle, most cars that I've owned, when I start to get over 150,000 miles, again, depending upon the make, but Toyotas I've had, I probably would feel a lot more comfortable that they could go far beyond 100, 150,000. Certainly I've seen them go to 300,000. So kudos to Toyota, has done a fabulous job of manufacturing a very high quality internal combustion engine vehicle, gas powered vehicle. Tesla, on the other hand, is saying, hey, these battery units should be able to last 300 to 500,000 miles. And when you go to replace them, they're talking that they will not require a full replacement of the battery, but the way they've designed and engineered the batteries is they're in modules. And I think there's 4 modules. I'll try to flash a graphic up on the screen, just show you the modules. But the way the modules are built is you could replace individual modules, so that, because not all modules, not all parts of the battery may wear evenly or fail at the same time. So you could then buy individual modules to replace and put in the vehicle, reducing the cost of having to fork out for a full battery pack. And this is not even taking into account, again, how do we anticipate battery technology to change over the next 5 to 10 years, which I would just believe that the technology will just continue to drive innovation, which will then again change what likely battery packs and the range of those packs and the efficiency and weight of the batteries. I would think all of that will change, right, over the next 5 to 10 years, and probably could change dramatically, right? And if all those things change, then certainly the technology will just drive for a lower cost, battery upgrade in the future. So anyway, I'm bringing this all up just from the perspective of, it's incredible to me, the design of the electric vehicle and the potential I think it has for long-term use and lower cost of operation is just, I think, real significant. And we're already seeing people who are putting over 100,000 miles on these vehicles. I know there have been battery failures, particularly in some of the earlier model. I think S's had some that have failed before the life of the vehicle warranty. So they've had to be replaced under warranty. I think some of that's probably due to people not using the battery as in the most effective way. And I'll address that here just for a minute. So, and maybe this is one complaint, if you will, or piece of feedback I think I have for Tesla. It annoys me that people are being told, hey, you only need to charge, you should only charge to 80% or 90%, and you shouldn't go to zero. And don't get me wrong, if the battery is truly what it says it is, I agree, you shouldn't do those things. So I'm not trying to argue that that's false. What I'm saying is I think that Tesla, the battery should be designed with additional capacity on the top and on the bottom, so that the customer doesn't have to think about charging to 100% or getting to zero. I think that battery should have that extra 5 or 10% at the top and 5 or 10% at the bottom, and it should never let the customer think that battery capacity even exists. And so the customer could always charge it to 100%, they could always go to zero, and the car would in effect pull over and die, if you will, or stop, but it would not damage the battery, right? I think it's kind of crazy that we're having to sort of train people. I don't think for this to be mass market that you can sort of have to tell people, oh, you can only charge to 80% or 90%, or only do it at these certain times. People are people. They just need to be able to get in the vehicle, plug it in, or drive it. They'll naturally want to drive it before it runs out of electricity, and then plug it in and charge it all the way. And if they charge it all the way, great. If they don't want to wait for those last, that last 10% of charge because it's slower, that's fine too. But there should never be any thought about, oh, am I going to harm the battery if I charge it to 100%? It's like that's just, to me, crazy. In order for mass market, I think you have to be able to move in that direction. I would guess that Elon probably knows that. I would guess maybe they're waiting in that future for the economies of scale of the battery packs to be able to, and I know there was that period of time where they put larger packs into cars that were modeled as smaller or lesser range, right? That you could sort of upgrade it by a software change, and again, I think that's an interesting concept, right? But at the end of the day, the average consumer shouldn't have to think about how they're using the battery. It should just work. So anyway, enough on that. Back to the quote from Elon and the 300 to 500,000 miles. Again, if these cars can do that, if on average, and again, I'm sure there'll be outliers, right? Every car manufacturer has, quote, lemons or cars that don't function the way that they were intended to function. That's always going to exist. But if by and large the vast majority of these vehicles can do that, and this is again not taking into account any full self-driving benefit of being able to use the vehicle for income making, which is a whole nother topic for another day, then again tremendous gains for the potential of taking the cost of that vehicle and amortizing it out over a much longer period of life than what we would normally see out of an internal combustion engine, which can tend to break down and have lots of mechanical issues with all the different components, after a life of 150 to 200,000 miles. So there you go. That's my thoughts this morning on that tweet from Elon. I'm going to plan on probably having a number of videos, and I'll put them into a playlist for covering those tweets, so that kind of to keep up with what Tesla and what Elon are saying, the news, if you will, that's coming out of them related to Model 3 or just the Tesla cars in general. So you can certainly watch those and see them separately, and then I'll certainly just keep up my regular videos as we go along. So anyway, thanks for joining me this morning, and have a great day, and talk to you later. Bye.